Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Katja and this is a channel about, or the podcast about sexuality, love, consciousness, and the rebirthing of the feminine essence. I explore those things for myself, obviously, and I share what I have learned so far. I've been walking this path for 10 years. I've really walked into the dark corners of this path as well, because I was truly seeking. And so the spectrum is wide when we really seek, I would say. What I want to share today about sexuality is my current view and my yearnings for sexuality as a collective. So sex and sexuality are probably one of those words on the whole planet that are very charged with a lot of stigma, emotion, stories, imprinting. There is either a lot of shame and repression, or I think shame is throughout. Like, even the people who say, yeah, I'm totally sexually open, sex is cool for me, like, yeah, I love fucking. I think in such people we should maybe even more so look out for shameful cover-ups. So what I see in the world is a very suppressed way of living our sexuality, of being about our sexuality. We women have been taught to be these nice girls. We should dress pretty, but not too sexy. But then on the other hand, in the bedroom, we need to be this absolute like sex cannon. And this is really damaging to our psyche. This is really damaging to our whole being, because we are being like put into these different boxes according to different situations, and we're not being allowed to deeply connect to the sexual essence that we all are and live from that. So why are we all sexual essence? Because we are all born from at least the sexual energy. Yeah, sexual energy, we might as well just call it life force energy as well. And here I want to bring a fun, cool little story that I love to share. I share it a lot, actually. I read it in the book Women's Anatomy of Arousal. I think it's by Sherry Winston, the book. And she shares in there like a Hinduistic, mythological story of creation. And the story goes like this. In the beginning, there was the One, and the One was existing for aeons and an eternity, and it was just being. And at some point, this One got bored of itself. It was just there by itself. It was just one, it was everything. It was there. It got bored. So it decided to split itself into two. So here we already have the desire, a deep yearning, a wish to explore, to get to know oneself, right? So the One split itself into two. As soon as that happened, Shiva and Shakti were created. If you know a little bit about Indian Hindu story, Shiva and Shakti are two prime goddess characters in there. So Shiva and Shakti saw each other, looked each other in the eyes, and fell deeply, madly in love as soon as they locked eyes onto each other. So immediately they tried to merge, and they were looking for ways to become one again, because they were so deeply in love. So they were making love, apparently again for aeons, for a very, very long time, where they're making love. And eventually this love making started to explode into one simultaneous together orgasm, where, so it is said, the whole universe exploded or was created from this. Everything that we know today was created from this, and by the way, is still being created, keeps on being created. So science says this was the original Big Bang, and the mythological story tells it in these pictures, right? This is what ancient stories always do. They talk in metaphors, they talk in pictures. So what I really love about this story is that it implicates or implies, like it suggests from my perspective, that we are part of one huge, massive, big orgasm. What is an orgasm in this case? It's absolute pure life force energy. It's pure desire, pure yearning to get to know oneself and to feel connected to oneself, but also to the others. And by feeling connected to the others, we feel connected to ourselves, because essentially we are one and the same, right? We came from the one. So, you know, life to me gets a whole different meaning. So I see it that deep down, every human being is yearning for this connection, is yearning to feel like they belong. Even like the seemingly worst people in the world are very, very deeply in pain and not aware of this, most likely, that they're actually just yearning to feel connected to universal consciousness, to love. So Earth is a planet, is a place in this universe where we've kind of moved like very far out from this original Big Bang, you could say. We are very far away from this oneness, but we are actually also remembering in a very big way, I think. Like me making this video, you watching this video, many people out there making similar videos, watching similar videos. It's really happening, you know. We are also really connecting the dots, or connecting again to ourselves. You know, yoga, meditation, all these tantra, blah, blah, all these things are actually coming so much into presence nowadays, because we are feeling it, because we know there is more, because we know deep down we are actually connected and one, and we yearn so deeply to feel that. So there's another great human being who said, it's Jeffrey Wolf Green. I don't know if he's still alive, to be honest, but he said that the soul has two desires simultaneously. On one hand, it wants to get to know itself as an individual, as an individuated soul being. So that's why we became human. But on the other hand, there's this deep yearning to feel the oneness, to feel connected. So it is this polarity, it is this push and pull. And this comes in with sex even as well. So, you know, sometimes in relationship, for example, we really want to connect to our partner. We want to be in the oneness experience with our partner. And then sometimes we really don't feel like it. And I think it's important to not judge ourselves for that, but to acknowledge that this is part of our human galactic experience. And so sexuality to me, under all this perspective, or from this broader perspective, sexuality to me becomes this sacred act of procreation, yes, but also of connection. And it starts first and foremost with ourselves. With ourselves. So we can have deeply nourishing, fulfilling sexual experiences with ourselves. I'm actually wearing my yoni egg as I speak. I don't wear it often, just randomly, but I was doing a practice this morning and it felt like I should let it stay in a little longer. So this is where it starts, connecting with our sexual organs, with our sexual energy by ourselves. And, you know, continuing to do this. I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. And there was a time when the time always comes. I think it's quite might be quite normal for a lot of us. The time always comes when you're like, oh, now I know it all, I've done it all, like it's done. And you kind of want to get lazy with the practices, but it's actually about continuing to practice, continuing to connect with this open mind, with curiosity, with openness of letting yourself be surprised again and again and again and again. And sexuality is so similar, and I think we are so far away from a very natural expression of sexuality, and there is so much really interesting expressions of sexuality and sex. And I think it is sort of the path of liberating ourselves. There was so much suppression around it, there's so much shaming around it, sex work, about if a woman says, yeah, I like to have sex, she's immediately titled a slut. So there is like, if men sleep with a lot of women, it's like, yeah, great work, good, well done, guy, yeah, you go fuck those bitches. But if women do this, it's like, wow, you're such a slut. So there's so much shame around sex and sexuality. And for me, seeing all these different ways that people are exploring sex and living out sexuality, like, not all of this is my jam, but I think it's part of us, like, freeing ourselves from all the crazy shit that's been going on Earth for a long time. So what I feel about sexuality is that it's deeply nourishing, that it's deeply innocent and very pure. And that can feel weird because we are in this human body, and this human body has experienced a lot already. If you've been around for a few years, you've experienced stuff. So you might not feel as innocent and pure anymore. And that is okay. But there is also this totally pure and innocent part within each and every one of us that's also always there. That's never been different, that's never gone. And this is so important to me. Again, we are like all these things, we are messy, we are dirty, we are filthy, we are pure, we are curious, we are innocent, we are life itself, and we carry death within us as well. Like, cells are dying every moment. Every time you take a poop, you shit out stuff that's not serving your aliveness anymore. So there was death inside of you and you pooped that out, you could say, And I could talk about death again as well. Maybe I'll make another video, because I don't think death is dead, like in the sense that we understand it. Death in itself is still alive. That's why it's not really life or death. They are one once again. So sexuality, it's life, it's purity, it's innocence, it's curiosity, it's openness. It's also, in our day and age, it's exploration. It's total exploration, I think, with ourselves, with a partner. And it's also safety is coming to my mind. So I guess what I want to say for a lot of us who experience sexual trauma, is also very important to require the sense of safety. So don't throw yourself into any sexual expression that you feel like is overwhelming for you. Maybe it's actually making sense to first find safety and a sense of comfort, where you then feel like you can take baby steps in exploring, in discovering new ways of your sexuality. But sexuality is this very profound part of life. And if we don't start treating it like this, what's the whole point of it gonna be? And because sexuality is this really essential, fundamental, profound part of life, I think it's also, it's also, to me, it's not like this crazy thing that I need to talk about all the time, which I did at some point, but you don't need to like talk about it the whole time and like flash your vagina everywhere or whatever. Like if that's part of your path, go for it. But and then it's also not this totally suppressed and like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's a lower drive and it's not that spiritual. Like it's I see people, or yeah, I see us humans going either extremely into one direction or the other, but just like being in the middle of all this and being like, yep, sexuality is an integral part of the human experience. It's this cosmic expression in human form of this aliveness, of the oneness, of creation, of beauty. It's the energy of life. Sexuality is a very divine expression of aliveness, and we have come to really twist that in a really strange way. Like, what? It's really weird. It's like so fucked up if you think about it, that it actually represents this holy, sacred moment of things coming into existence. And we've made like this, I'm like twisting my body and I'm showing like my, this is sex, yeah, it's so weird. It's really weird, yeah. But again, I want to say here that whatever expression it finds through each and every one of us is also part of the game, you could say. You know, it's part of this creation, because creation wants to explore itself, wants to get to know itself. So it's okay that this is also happening. I think it's just time that we put more awareness into it and become aware and more conscious of that, of what we're actually doing here on Earth with sexuality for this case. This is like really, we can explore, we can express in all the ways, but can we do it just with some more awareness and reflection, self-reflection, doing the deep inner work, asking ourselves, why am I actually truly doing this? Why am I? Yeah. And practicing self-love through all this, so we don't throw ourselves out the window with really exaggerating experiences. That's important, I think, to me anyways. Yeah, so I think this is it, what I wanted to speak on today about sexuality. I hope this was interesting for you. I'm curious again to hear how it landed, what it did for you, what insights you got. You can share with me on Instagram. I'm not so active at the moment. You can share in the comments if you like, or you can send me an email at katja@katjadeborah.com. Thank you so much for watching, and speak to you soon. Bye bye.